Imagine this: a silent temple nestled in the misty mountains of Henan province. A monk in red robes performs slow, precise movements beneath the rising sun. His breath is calm, his posture perfect. Cut to an arena packed with screaming crowds, flashing lights, and a young fighter in silk uniform flying into a butterfly kick. Cut again. Bruce Lee, fists clenched, eyes blazing, defying every rule, every master, every limitation. This is the world of Chinese martial arts, or at least a fragment of it. Because behind the flying fists, there is confusion. Behind the word Kung Fu, there is misunderstanding. And behind the term Wushu, there is an entire nation's strategy. In this video, we are not just exploring martial arts. We're peeling back the layers of philosophy, propaganda, cinema, and spiritual discipline. We'll trace the story from ancient battlefields to TikTok videos, from Shaolin monks to government ministries. And by the end, you might never see Kung Fu the same way again. If you're passionate about martial arts, history, or the soul of combat, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's begin this journey. Let's start with the most important and most misunderstood distinction. What is Kung Fu? Is it a martial art? Is it a style? Is it what Bruce Lee did? Technically, no. In Mandarin, Kung Fu, or more accurately, Gong Fu, simply means skill acquired through hard work and time. A master chef has Kung Fu. A skilled calligrapher has Kung Fu. Even a janitor who sweeps the floor with mastery has Kung Fu. It's about discipline, devotion, refinement. So how did Kung Fu become synonymous with martial arts in the West? Blame Hollywood. In the 1970s, Bruce Lee's breakout films, The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Enter the Dragon, exploded onto the global stage. Western audiences needed a name for what they were seeing. The studios picked Kung Fu. It sounded exotic, powerful, unforgettable. And the name stuck. But back in China, the real term for martial arts is Wushu, literally, martial technique. It covers thousands of systems, from internal styles like Tai Chi and Bagua to external arts like Long Fist, Praying Mantis, and Shaolin boxing. In modern China, especially since the 1950s, Wushu became not just a term, but a government program. More on that later. For now, understand this. All Kung Fu is Wushu, but not all Wushu is Kung Fu. Kung Fu is effort, Wushu is form. And the deeper we go, the more you'll see how this confusion shaped the modern world's understanding of Chinese martial arts. So next time you hear someone say, "I study Kung Fu," ask them, which kind? Because the answer could lead you down 10,000 different paths. Long before the Shaolin monks or Bruce Lee, there were warriors. And long before warriors, there were myths. In Chinese legend, the first martial artist wasn't a soldier, but an emperor. Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor, is said to have ruled around 2700 BCE. A philosopher king, a healer, and a fighter. He was said to have invented weapons, military strategy, and even acupuncture. Of course, he's more symbol than man, but that's the point. From the beginning, martial arts in China were not just physical, they were cosmic. Rooted in Taoist philosophy, martial movement was seen as a way to harmonize with the universe, strike with the tiger's ferocity, flow like the river, balance like the crane. Every motion mirrored nature. Every technique reflected a principle: yin and yang, stillness and movement, contraction and release. During the Zhou and Han dynasties, these ideas met the demands of warfare. Soldiers practiced structured routines, the ancestors of forms we still see today. Ancient texts like The Art of War by Sun Tzu didn't just teach strategy, they embodied the same idea that combat was not chaos, but a discipline of harmony and timing. And while China's military evolved, so did its understanding of the body. Traditional Chinese medicine played a vital role, seeing the body not just as muscle and bone, but as channels of energy, or qi. Martial artists trained not only for strength and speed, but for internal balance. Breathing, posture, intent, all mattered. Fighting wasn't just physical, it was energetic, it was spiritual. And by the time Buddhism entered China from India, a new synthesis began to emerge, one that would soon change everything. A temple would rise, a foreign monk would arrive, and Kung Fu, as the world would one day know it, was about to be born. According to legend, in the 6th century, a monk from India named Bodhidharma arrived at the Shaolin temple. He wasn't a fighter, not in the way we imagine. He was a teacher of stillness, of meditation. But when he saw the monks struggling, physically weak from endless sitting, he gave them something different: movement. He introduced a system of exercises to build strength, breath, and awareness. These drills would become the foundation of Shaolin Kung Fu. The goal wasn't fighting, it was transformation, a strong body, a calm mind. Over time, the monks became warriors. They learned to fight with fists, staffs, and swords, but always with purpose, discipline. Shaolin wasn't just a monastery anymore. It was a crucible where body and spirit were forged together. That legacy would echo for centuries, shaping the very soul of Chinese martial arts. As Kung Fu spread beyond Shaolin, it transformed. Every region of China developed its own style, shaped by terrain, culture, and philosophy. In the north, long-range explosive techniques, high kicks, deep stances. In the south, short, powerful strikes, low stances, close-range control. Styles emerged like living creatures: tiger, raw strength; crane, elegance and precision; snake, speed and fluidity; monkey, agility and unpredictability; drunken, deceptive balance and rhythm. Then came internal arts: Tai Chi, Bagua, Xing Yi, slow on the outside, intense within. Kung Fu became not one art, but a forest of systems, each with its own logic, rhythm, and soul. Some styles were created by generals, some by monks, some by farmers defending their villages. All were united by one thing: a lifetime of practice. In the 20th century, no one did more to globalize Chinese martial arts than Bruce Lee. Born in San Francisco, raised in Hong Kong, Lee trained in Wing Chun, but quickly grew frustrated with its limitations. He believed traditional Kung Fu was trapped by its own rituals. Too fixed, too formal. So he broke the mold. He studied boxing, fencing, judo, taekwondo, taking what worked, discarding what didn't. The result was Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. It wasn't a style, it was a philosophy. Be like water, he said. Flow, adapt, crash. Through his films, Bruce Lee showed the world something new: martial arts that were fast, real, personal. But more than that, he challenged the very idea of tradition. He asked, why do we cling to old forms if they no longer serve us? And in doing so, he opened the door for a new generation of martial artists, not only in the East, but across the globe. For many, Bruce Lee wasn't just a fighter. He was a rebel, a philosopher, a spark. In 1949, after the Communist Revolution, China entered a new era, and so did martial arts. The government viewed traditional Kung Fu with suspicion: too spiritual, too chaotic, too independent. So in the 1950s, the state began a process of standardization. Hundreds of regional styles were cataloged, trimmed, and reshaped into something new: modern wushu. Designed not for combat, but for performance. Routines were codified. Movements became more acrobatic. High kicks, aerial spins, stylized stances. This was Taolu, the performance branch of wushu. Judges scored based on aesthetics, speed, balance, and difficulty. But there was another branch, too. For those who wanted to fight, Sanda, a full-contact sport that combined punching, kicking, and wrestling. Fighters wore gloves, headgear, and chest protectors. It looked like kickboxing, but with Chinese characteristics. Over time, the government promoted wushu as part of national identity. Schools opened across China. Athletes were selected young, trained hard, and polished for competition. In 1990, China founded the International Wushu Federation, IWUF, to globalize the sport. The goal: Olympic recognition. And while wushu has yet to become a full Olympic sport, it remains a key part of China's cultural diplomacy, a soft power tool showcasing heritage, strength, and unity. But in polishing the art, something got lost. Real fighting was pushed aside. Tradition became choreography. And for many, the soul of Kung Fu began to fade into the background. Today, Kung Fu is everywhere and nowhere. You can find it on TikTok, in action movies, in tourist shows outside Shaolin Temple. You'll see kids in matching uniforms performing synchronized routines, weapons flashing, music blasting. It looks impressive. But is it real? For many, modern Kung Fu has become a performance art. Something to watch, not something to live. Martial tourism has turned ancient temples into amusement parks. Thousands of foreigners visit Shaolin each year, hoping to learn secrets that once took a lifetime to master. Online, you'll find self-proclaimed masters with no lineage, no sparring, no depth, just flair. Yet, the real thing still exists, in quiet basements, on rooftops, in small parks at dawn. There are still teachers who care more about breathing than branding, students who train without cameras, practitioners who understand that Kung Fu is not just what you do in public, but how you move, live, and carry yourself in private. In a world obsessed with speed, views, and spectacle, true Kung Fu moves in silence. So where does that leave us? Can Kung Fu survive? Not just as a tourist show or a performance routine, but as a living, breathing path? The answer depends on us, because Kung Fu was never about uniforms or medals. It was about discipline, precision, patience. It was about failing 10,000 times and getting up again. It was about breathing through chaos, moving with purpose. Whether you're practicing crane form or throwing Sanda kicks, if you train with focus, with humility, with heart, you are keeping it alive. Kung Fu doesn't need to be trendy. It needs to be true. And that truth lives in every step, every representative, every moment you choose mastery over comfort. The soul of Kung Fu is not in temples or movies. It's in you. What does Kung Fu mean to you? Is it a fight? A philosophy? A forgotten treasure? Drop a comment below. We read every one. And if you believe in keeping this art alive, share this video, subscribe, and stay on the path. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs masters in the making.